Well, hello everyone and welcome to the Be Your Own Boss Summit. Thank you so much for joining us again. Today we have Darren from EngageWeb, who is they're a an online marketing agency. Now, Darren has been helping businesses of all sizes across the world with their online presence for decades now. He's worked with global brands across the world with the USA, Canada, including the UK here, as well as Australia. But he's also helped small one-man bands, solo entrepreneurs, and small business owners like myself as well. So online presence is something that he is very experienced in, and I'm so pleased that he has come to talk to us today. He's here today to show you about, to talk to you about getting your product or service out there using your website and Facebook ads too, which is a bit of a speciality of his. So I'm going to introduce him now. Darren, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me on. It's a pleasure.
Well, would you like to tell the audience a little bit about yourself, if I haven't covered everything yet, and before we sort of launch into these questions?
No, that's fine. As you say, when you mentioned decades of experience, that's quite a worrying, eye-opening thing for me, because I did start in this industry in the last century, as I sometimes like to describe it, because it was in the late 90s. We had computers and the internet back then. For some people might not believe that, but we did. My first proper job, my first 9-to-5 job, was as the web designer for Game. Americans will know them as EB Games, or Electronics Boutique, where I redesigned their website a couple of times over a 3-year period. And I thought that was the best job in the world, because you get lots of free video games, you get to write about video games, you get to play video games all day long, you get to go to game launch parties, and there's free alcohol. I thought all jobs were like that, but it's taken me a long time since leaving then to get back to the level where I've got that kind of enjoyment in my working life. But finally, I think I'm there now.
Well, good for you as well. I mean, what more could a young Darren have asked for? So,
absolutely.
Well, thank you so much again for joining us today and helping this particular group of people on the Be Your Own Boss Summit. I'm sure your knowledge will be well received. So I have a couple of questions for you. Firstly, I want to talk about websites. So, someone wants to leave their job, or maybe they've just left their job to start a business, perhaps through redundancy or by choice, and maybe they've got this seedling of an idea of what they want to do, and maybe even a product in mind. How do they get that out there? How do they reach their potential customers? So I was wondering if we could talk a little bit about websites at first. Have you got any advice for startup businesses and that sort of thing? Any good practices, etc.?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the first thing to think about is how technically minded somebody might be. If they've got absolutely no experience of handling their own website or doing their own website, and they know nothing about it at all, then I would say probably the easiest, quickest and cheapest thing to do would be to use one of those online website builders you see advertised on TV, you see advertised on the internet, like Wix, wix.com, or Ionos, that's one-on-one internet's Ionos. And they are very, very cheap. You can actually get a Wix website for free. But I'd have to caveat that advice, because if you have a website by one of those companies, while it will give you an online presence and it will give you a website very, very quickly and very cheaply, or in many cases for free, so that you can say to people, look, that's my website, go and have a look at my website, etc. It's very unlikely to bring you any business, because they're not built in such a way that they're going to rank on Google. They're not particularly going to work particularly well in attracting new business and getting new people to it. So don't think you're going to get a website like that and suddenly you're going to get loads of business. I watched one of the adverts on TV last night. It's the guys in the van making the cakes, and they got the guy doing the voiceover saying, hey, we can do lots of this, let's get a website. And it all works really quickly and they get loads of orders coming in. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that at all. But it will give you a presence very cheaply, very quickly. One thing I would also like to say on that is, because we've been asked this a few times ourselves, when people get a website like that and they come to us and say, I've got a Wix website, or I've got a one-on-one Ionos website, I'd like a new website to do more of what I want to do. I want to actually sell products for it, or I want to get business from it. Can you take that existing website and do something with that? I would say think of it like getting on the property ladder. That's a 1-bedroom flat. It's a starter home. You're not actually going to be able to build on that. You're not going to be able to build an extension and start having a family in there, because it's never going to do that. You don't really own that website. You can't take it away and do anything else with it. So it's not a case of, right, I've got a Wix website, I can now go to someone else and say, take that Wix website and make it better. That's never going to work that way. It is a starter home, a first car. It's a banger. It's going to get you on the road, but it's not actually going to help you further down the line. So don't invest money or time into it, because it's never going to be what you want it to be, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think yes, I mean, I use Wix as well for all of my websites, and I do love it. But I think you have to know about topics such as SEO, so search engine optimization, and you need to do your research as well. So whoever your website is with, Squarespace, WordPress, Wix, whoever it is, you need to know what to put into it to make it effective, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of those companies, I pick on Wix because they advertise the most. They are probably the most well known. But as you say, there are others as well. One-on-One is one. And I remember an advert on One-on-One Internet a couple of years ago on TV, because these guys advertise on TV. They're huge brands. One-on-One Internet's a German company that's all over the world. They advertise on TV saying that you get your website, you get your industry standard text and images, includes search engine optimization. Mm-hmm. I watched that advert and I thought, well, what does that mean? What do they mean it includes search engine optimization? So I actually made an inquiry with them and asked them, I saw your advert on TV, it said it includes search engine optimization. What do you do for that? And they replied back with obviously a cut and paste stock response, because it's a customer service option, or it may even be an automated system. They replied back and said, it includes industry standard keywords added to your website. So, yeah, but what do you actually do? Put keywords in the meta tag. That's not SEO. Mm-hmm. Then the conversation kind of dried up because they don't do anything. So the real issue I find with this, and it really angers me, to be honest with you, it angers me that companies can advertise this includes search engine optimization, this includes SEO, and they can get away with actually not doing anything because there's no governing body for this. There can't be. It's not like, you can say, oh, I'm a trained electrician. I'll come in and rewire your house. And I've actually got no idea how to do it. And if I try and do it and end up killing you, then I can go to prison for that. You can't do these things and say you can do it without the qualifications to do it. But with SEO, you can. Anybody can go, yeah, I can do that for you. We can do that. They can advertise on TV and do it without the first clue about how to do it. And watchdog and advertising standards can't really do anything about it because nobody really understands how it works.
I find I've had a number of people come to me for advice on their website or online presence in general, and they've said to me sentences such as, "Oh, but my web guy says it's SEO optimized," and I'm like, well, so what does that mean? What's it optimized for? And I think that the topic of SEO and keywords, so for people watching who don't know what keywords are, they are something that you type into a search engine such as Google to find a product or a service or answer a question, that sort of thing. So it could be best hotels, New York, etc. So there really can't be an industry standard. I guess that it is very, very bespoke to each individual business. So you have to do your research on stuff like that. So if there's someone who is promising to SEO optimize your website, or if they say at the end of the process that, oh yeah, I've SEO optimized your website for you, then it's unlikely to work that way. And it's an ongoing process as well, right?
100% it's an ongoing process. And I just thought of another analogy there when you said that there can't be an industry standard. And you're right, there can't. It's like saying there's an industry standard for the perfect match for you in a relationship. There isn't. Everybody is different. everybody has different things that they like and don't like, or different things that really annoy them, or that they're attracted to that other people aren't attracted to. That's the, you know, there is no, yes, this is the perfect way to impress someone. It doesn't work like that. SEO is the same thing. There is no industry standard because everybody is different. Every website is different. Every industry is different. Every message that you're trying to get across and person that you're trying to reach is different. So back in the olden days, back in 20 years ago, Google first developed something called its PageRank algorithm. Meant it worked a lot better than other search engines like Yahoo, Lycos, AltaVista, Hotbot, Ask Jeeves, Hasta La Vista was another one, believe it or not. These different search engines existed, and Google emerged from the pack because it based its rankings on the number of websites that linked to you, giving you what it called votes. So if you got more websites linking to you, it meant you were a more important website. Yahoo, much easier to get rankings on because it was easy to, basically, it was easy for people like me to manipulate because you could do it with keywords and on-page content. Google was all about votes. And as soon as it started doing that, people in the SEO industry said, right, so Google's going to rank websites based on the fact that there's more websites linking to them. Interesting. All we really need to do is to get tens of thousands of websites linking to a particular website, and then it'll rank on the first page, it'll rank #1 in Google. And that's exactly what they did. They went to what they call link farms. That's places in India that had hundreds and thousands or millions of websites. So, right, here's £5,000, get me a load of links, point it to this website and anchor it for the keyword web design, and then I will rank on the first page of Google for web design. And lo and behold, it worked. But Google got better and better and better at identifying those false links that were paid and manipulated. And eventually, around about 2009, 2010, I think it was, it factored that into its main algorithm, and all of that stopped almost overnight. And a lot of SEO companies went bust because all of the rankings they got for their clients were done in this way, and all of their clients lost all their rankings. Bust. And the real worst thing about this is the companies that were charging for all these links, you'd think they'd have gone bust because their business model was gone. No. Genius. They then started charging people to remove the links. Got all these links on your website. That's harming your rankings. Google knows you paid for them. Pay us some money and we'll take them off again. You absolute bloody swines. And that's how it worked. So that's how SEO used to be. But now it's gone completely the right way it should be, the way we've been doing it all along, which is give people what they want, give people the answers to their questions. Because if you think about it, with SEO, you don't search for the solution to a problem because you don't know what the solution to a problem is. You search for the problem. People don't go into Google and say, for example, I'm looking for a business coach or I'm looking for a business mentor. They go into Google and say things like, I need to increase my sales. I need to know what member of staff should I hire. Should I hire an admin or should I hire somebody in accounts? How do I do this with finance? How do I do this on my tax returns? They ask these specific questions. And if you've got a website that has 5 pages and says, I'm a business coach, I help you do this, this, and this, you're not going to show up for that because you don't have that content. If you've got 10,000 pages on your website that answer all of these specific questions that customers have asked, then you're going to show up for those things. So what we say to people when they're trying to work out what content they should be adding to their website is, what questions have you been asked? What things have your customers or your clients asked you over the years that you've had the answer to? How many different types of questions have you been asked? What are the answers you've given? That's your content strategy right there.
Absolutely.
All of those down.
Absolutely. I think for this particular people who are watching this, who are just starting out as well, okay, you might not have years of experience in business, but perhaps think about what questions you might type into Google for that sort of thing. So if you, I don't know, say you're a florist, for example, and what would you type into Google if you were sending flowers to someone, or if you were looking for a wedding florist, that sort of thing. And that's the sort of content that you should produce and put onto your website, because that's what's going to get you found on search engines. And it's not just a case of putting some products on a site and getting it out there and people are going to lap it up, because that's not how it works. You need to work at it, as Darren says. But But yeah, so Darren, do you have anything else to add on websites before I start asking you about Facebook ads?
You know, yeah, I do. Sorry. Yeah. About the keywords, when I talk about the keywords and the questions that people ask and what you could be ranking for, quite often people will look at what's called vanity keywords. And an example I usually give with this is mobile phones. I've had this before where somebody set up a website selling mobile phones or selling mobile phone contracts. They wanted to rank on the first page of Google for mobile phones because that's what people search for. That's a vanity keyword. To rank on the first page of Google for mobile phones is going to cost you a ridiculous amount of money and a ridiculous amount of time, because you've got people like O2 and Vodafone and Carphone Warehouse ranking on the first page of Google for that. They've got massive budgets. They've been there for decades. You're not going to compete with them. Don't even try to do that. People don't make buying decisions by searching for mobile phones either. If I'm thinking about a new mobile phone, maybe I'll start with mobile phones and then I'll work out, well, which model do I want? Okay, iPhone. Then I'll be like iPhone 7, iPhone 7 Plus, iPhone 7 Plus 128 gigabyte. That is called a long tail search. At that point, people make a decision of when they're going to buy. That's the stuff you need to be making the content about. And it works with any industry. So say you're a travel agent, or say you're about to start a travel franchise. You don't want to rank for holidays or cheap flights. That's not going to work. People searching for holidays will then say, right, what sort of holiday do I want? Do I want a city break, or do I want a beach holiday, or do I want an adventure holiday? Then they decide on a city break. Then they decide on which country they're going to go. Then maybe it's Spain, maybe it's Barcelona. And then they'll start looking for things to do in Barcelona, activities I can do in Barcelona. Those are the things you want to be ranking for, because that's the point somebody's ready to make a decision on whether or not they want to book, not holidays. So
absolutely, yeah, that's
fantasy keywords.
Yeah, couldn't agree with that more, actually. Yeah. I just want to quickly touch on something you said there before we move on, because you touched on mobile phones, and if you guys watching this are building your own website with Wix, Squarespace, whatever it might be, you must make sure it's mobile optimized as well, because Google actually prioritizes those above non-mobile enabled sites on search engines. So definitely worthwhile, ensuring that's optimized so it works correctly on a mobile phone screen, because the majority of people are using that to search for things nowadays while they're on the go. So yeah, Darren, let's say, so someone's got this product and they've got maybe a little bit of budget behind them. They want to boost their sales. Facebook ads are a fantastic way of doing that. So they've got their website set up, they've got their Facebook page set up. It's a great way of boosting sales, and not only that, but reaching the right people. But how do they go about it?
That's a good question. The good news is it's very easy. The bad news is it's very easy to get wrong. So the first thing you should do, and I would say this to anybody, whether they're interested in doing Facebook ads now, or whether they're interested in doing Facebook ads in 6 months' time or in 12 months' time, it doesn't matter. Install a Facebook pixel on your website now. Don't wait until you're ready to do Facebook ads to do that. And to say briefly what a Facebook pixel is, it's a little bit of tracking code that Facebook gives you. It generates it, and you just copy it and paste it into your website. You don't know how it works. You don't have to understand the code. It's just a little bit of garbage code that means nothing to anybody other than Facebook. All you will do is paste that into your website. Website is WordPress, for example. It gives you a plugin to upload and click activate. If your website is Wix, you just paste it into the header in your website, in your admin for Wix. Very simple to install.
It really is as well, from experience to everyone watching. And don't be scared by mentions of code and things like that, because these sorts of sites like Wix and Squarespace, etc., do have very simple. It's literally just a case of following the instructions that Facebook give you to do that. So it is super easy. You'll be able to do it even though you're not a web designer. So don't worry.
Yeah,
carry on, Darren.
It is just copy and paste. And to be honest, most of web development is copy and paste anyway. So it is just
industry secret.
Industry secret. It's all Control C, Control V. That's the congratulations. So So once that pixel's installed, what that does is anybody who visits your website, if they are logged into Facebook at the same time, whether they're on a computer or whether they're on their smartphone, so again, it's important your website works on your smartphone properly, Facebook will track them and it will know they're on your website. So say, for example, over the next 3 months, you get 10,000 people visit your website. Those 10,000 people will all be tracked by Facebook if they happen to be logged into Facebook. And you'll probably find that a good 3/4 of them are. So you'll probably get 7,500 people logged into Facebook. You would then be able to run an ad on Facebook and target the people who've already visited your website. And that's going to be really, really targeted because it's just at the people who've looked at you already. So they know who you are. They've had a look at it. And you can even be more specific than that. If you've got a particular page of your website, say an inquiry page or a service page, you can say, I want to target people who just looked at that page because I know they're really interested in that thing that I do, I want them to look at. And then you can do that on Facebook. It's really cheap, a retargeting ad, because the audience is so small. It's just people who looked at you. And it's really high converting because they already know who you are. If you don't put that pixel on now, in 3 months' time when you decide, oh, that was a good idea, I'm going to have a go at that now, you've got no audience. So start tracking the audience now. Start tracking the data now, because if you decide to do it later, it's too late. So that's what I would say first of all is the important.
No, that's a great bit of advice, Darren. And I think I'm sure we've all been on Facebook before, and you're scrolling through and something pops up and you're like, oh, that's strange. I've just been looking at their website earlier, and it's exactly because of these pixels, right? So it's something that because I've attended some of Darren's training, and he's very knowledgeable about this. He runs Facebook training, Facebook ads. Don't blush, Darren. You're very good at what you do. And he explains it very well. So I'd highly recommend some of Darren's training on this. But I went away and immediately installed some Facebook pixels, and I can't unsee it now. You know, every time I visit a website, something appears on Facebook about it, and I'm thinking, gosh, yes, these Facebook pixels. That's why it happens. So I basically went away and installed them on all 3 of my websites and some of my clients' websites as well, because I can really see the benefit of it. Because with any sort of advertising, like Facebook ads or Google ads, whatever, it's all about the targeting, isn't it? And how do you reach those people? How do you know what people to reach? So yeah, sorry, I'll take it away, Darren. I interrupted you there.
No, you're right. It is about the targeting. So there are loads of targeting options on Facebook. So you can target people based on their geographic location. So if you are a service provider that goes out in the local area, you can ring fence your ads so that they only show to people within, say, a 5 or 10 or 15 mile radius of where you are. So you don't want to be wasting money advertising to people the other side of the country if you don't service them, obviously. It's really good if you want to target particular postcode areas. So, for example, we've worked with carpet fitters and carpet cleaners that want to target wealth areas as opposed to rental predominant areas, because they want to do the expensive carpets and the nice carpets to clean, not the ones that are particularly filthy and they're as cheap as possible, and they'll ask on Facebook, does anybody know a cheap carpet cleaner? You know, the kind of thing. So you can ring fence postcodes and create little postcode areas on Facebook to do your targeting, which means they're really, really small numbers of people, but very, very targeted. You can target people I'm having trouble with the word target here. Target people based on their interests. So you can target them if they like a particular singer, or if they watch a particular TV show or a particular magazine. You can target people, and this is the frightening thing, based on their relationship status. We've worked with jewelers in the past or wedding venues is a big one that we can do. So you can target people if they're newly engaged or if they've got engaged in the last few months. So if you're a wedding photographer, potential there is absolutely huge. And it's such an easy sell for companies like for wedding photographers, because they're so visual. They don't need to worry about the imagery that they're going to find for it, because they've already got the imagery in their photographs. So they can do the imagery, they can target so that people who are newly engaged, give in your ad, are you newly engaged? Have you booked your photographer yet? Download our brochure. Who's not going to want to do that? And you send them through to the website with a mailing list. So it's important that you're capturing their details. Important you capture the details to download the brochure. There's loads of things like that you can do with targeting that makes it really, really really easy and really laser focused. I'm starting to ramble a little bit, so I'm quite excited. My favorite piece of targeting, and this is a top tip for people here, my favorite piece of targeting, if you are business to business, so if you're looking to work with other businesses, there's a really good one on Facebook called business page admins.
Mm-hmm.
You can target people who are only business page admins, because if they're admin of a business page,
mm-hmm.
chances are they run a business. Or they're of a level within that business that they are a decision maker because they've been given admin access to a business page. And if you target a business page admin and you target people who, say you cross-reference that with a geographic location, you're going to get a really small targeted audience of people who are probably business owners, as opposed to just targeting people who might be interested in accounts or who might be interested in business. Because if you do it on people who might be interested in business, you're going to get a really broad range of people who Facebook thinks like pages that are related to business, but they may not be interested in business. Really, they may never become a business owner, so they're never going to be your ideal customer. So all these targeting options are frighteningly accurate in what you can do, but there are hundreds and hundreds of them to go through. So it does take a bit of time to get to know the right ones. If that makes sense.
Well, this is exactly why I'm going to employ the likes of yourself to do that. It's, yeah, I think I might get you to do that for my wedding florist business, actually. I never knew that about engaged couples. And what would you say to someone, just to sort of finish this off a little bit? People in this position are just starting out. They've got the ceiling of an idea and they're thinking, perhaps I don't have the budget to spend on Facebook ads. You know, what would you say to someone asking themselves that question or being worried about spending on ads?
Okay. I would say if you were trying to attract new customers, so if you were trying to go for targeting and you're trying to build a targeted audience, then really you are probably going to be looking at £300 to £500 minimum a month to be doing that. If you haven't got that as a budget, the smallest you can probably do is a couple of pound a month on a retargeted, sorry, couple of pound a day on a retargeting ad. That's what I would say would be the minimum to do. So that's install the pixel, then do the ad based of people who've looked at either your website or particular pages. And the reason I would say to do that is it's very cheap. You can get away with such a small amount because it's a small audience. Mm-hmm. But also, if you are spending the time writing content for your website, if you are doing SEO or you're doing PPC or you're sending newsletters or you're going to networking events when we can get out again and you're handing out business cards, you're doing anything that drives people to your website. If you're not doing that retargeting on Facebook, then anybody that goes to your website and doesn't inquire from you straight away or doesn't buy from you straight away, they're lost. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. You need to be able to retouch them. That's why so many companies do these retargeting ads. And as you yourself mentioned, when you go onto Facebook after seeing a website, you'll see these ads. So I've been on eBay, there's an ad for something I've been looking at. I've been on Amazon, even Amazon do it. You know, mm-hmm. They're so really hard on their margins, yet even they do retargeting ads. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It works. Doesn't matter what company it is, it works because you're just targeting people who are already seeing what you do. So I would say that as a starting point, that's what we recommend everybody does. Mm-hmm. We've actually got a client now that's doing only retargeting ads, because they do a little bit of PPC, they do a lot of content, they do a lot of SEO, and they're spending, I think it's £150 a month, which for people that may sound a lot of money, but the retargeting ad is generally doing between £5,000 and £8,000 in sales. Mm-hmm. Because people are coming to the website, they're seeing the courses that they can buy, they're not buying them, they're going away, they're on Facebook. Oh yeah, I was looking at that, wasn't I? Yeah, they'll click through and they'll order it. And it's just picking up those sales that you otherwise would have lost. So
I think that's the key thing there, isn't it? Is that, yeah, I know you've had great success with this from when I went on to your training, and you mentioned a few of these success stories. You know, people spend, for example, £150 on ads, but they get thousands back in sales. So to anyone starting out, I would say, you know, do your homework so you don't just throw that money away, of course, you know, but you know, even it would even employ, you know, I'm going to employ someone like, well, Darren, not someone like Darren, actually Darren.
Someone like me.
There's no one like Darren.
There is no one like me.
But, you know, I'm going to employ someone like him to do an ad for me because he is just knowledgeable in it. You know, you can go on one of his courses as well and learn about how to do them yourself if you're perhaps worried about spending, you know, hundreds and thousands of pounds on ads. But you know, basically these things pay for themselves if done properly, you know. So I want to make sure mine is done properly. So I'm definitely going to employ someone like Darren. But he does offer courses if you want to learn how to do that yourself. So it's all about the targeting, basically. And you know, the idea is you spend money to make money. We've all heard that phrase. So it's actually an option worth exploring, I think. So don't worry too much about if you haven't got a budget available immediately.
Yeah, one thing I would like to add to that, and I'm always adding things, I feel like right now, just one more thing. The temptation will be, when you put a post on Facebook on your business page, Facebook will tell you, do you want to boost this post to reach another 10,000 people? That's what so many people do. I've seen so many businesses who say, oh, we run our own Facebook ads, it's okay. So what do you do for these ads? Well, we boosted this. No, you press the boost post button. Facebook will tell you can reach people for as little as £10 if you boost this post, and you'll do it. All you're doing is taking the money out of your wallet or your purse and saying, you have Facebook, have that. Do anything for you. And the reason it's not going to do anything for you, because boosting a post purely increases the reach of that post, so more people see it. There's no call to action. There's no actual conversion that you're asking for with that post. When you put up an ad, it's important that you know what the conversion is. So if you're selling a product, the conversion is to make the sale. That's all the ad's there for. Make the sale to put money in your pocket. If you're running a B2B service, you want to get people onto your mailing list, or get people onto your webinar, or get people to download your lead magnet or book a call with you. That conversion, you need to make sure that you are running the right type of ad, because there's about 15, 20 different types of ads you can run. And the conversion ad is only one of them. The boost post is also one of them. Don't touch that one. We're going to get you any money back.
It's not targeting the right people, is it?
It's not targeting the right people, and it's not telling them what you want them to do. All you'll do is get more views, maybe some more likes, maybe the odd comment. But that's not going to put money in your pocket. So
absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Well, you know, Darren, you've given us some amazing insights there, and hopefully this will really help these new business owners once they start their businesses, and it'll help them sell their products or reach the right clients, etc. Darren's got a little bit of a giveaway. Press the button below for that, and you will receive. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, everyone. I hope this has been really useful for you, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the series.